Admiral stood at the giant viewing window of the Galactic Council station. The purple alien's 4 eyes watched the stars while his mind raced with worry. 3 weeks had passed since the last message from Commander. Before that, silence from General. And before that, nothing from Captain. 3 different fleets, 3 different species, all gone. The Admiral's clawed hands shook as he held the data pad. Each missing fleet had been sent to investigate the same thing, a new species that called themselves humans. They lived on a blue planet in a quiet corner of the galaxy. Nothing special about them, according to the scouts. They had just learned to travel between stars. Their weapons were simple. They had no special powers like mind reading or energy control. So why did every fleet that met them disappear? Admiral, the voice belonged to Counselor Theta, a tall gray being with large black eyes. The emergency meeting is ready. A nodded and followed Theta into the council chamber. The room was huge, with seats for representatives from hundreds of different species. Today, only the important ones had come. The Empire sat in their golden chairs, their blue skin gleaming under the lights. The crystalline collective's hive mind speakers stood together, their crystal bodies humming with shared thoughts. The Wraith Corsairs lounged in the shadows, their dark forms barely visible. "We are here to discuss a problem," began. His voice echoed through the chamber. 3 military expeditions have gone missing in the past 2 months. Ambassador of the Empire raised her hand. Her voice was smooth and cold. The fleet was not missing. They were investigating mining rights in a new sector. "Mining rights that required your best warships?" I asked, "including the Star Crusher." His blue face darkened. The Star Crusher was the Empire's most powerful ship. It could destroy planets. Everyone knew it had been sent to deal with the humans, not to mine rocks. Speaker Prime of the Crystalline Collective stepped forward. When it spoke, all the other collective members spoke at the same time. Their voices joined together like a strange song. "Our warriors went to bring new minds into the collective. It is our way. They have not returned." "Your warriors," I said carefully, "numbered over 10,000. They could share thoughts and move as one mind. What could stop them?" The collective speakers looked at each other. For a moment their hive minds seemed confused. "We do not know." Contact was lost suddenly. One moment we felt their thoughts, then nothing. From the shadows came a low laugh. Ghost Captain of the Wraith Corsairs stepped into the light. His pale face was marked with scars, and his red eyes glowed in the dim light. "Our ships are fast and invisible. We take what we want and leave before anyone knows we were there. We went to these humans to collect slaves for the markets." And prompted. 27 ships entered human space. His grin faded. "None returned. Our stealth technology is the best in the galaxy. No one can see our ships when we do not want them to, yet somehow." The chamber fell quiet. The 3 most powerful military forces in the galaxy had all failed against the same target, a target that should have been easy. "What do we know about these humans?" asked Counselor Theta. I activated his data pad. A hologram appeared above the table. It showed a blue and green planet with white clouds. "The planet is called Earth. The species calls itself human. They are new to space travel. Our first scouts reported them as weak and primitive." The image changed to show a human. It was tall but not too tall. It had only 2 eyes and smooth skin. It looked harmless compared to the powerful aliens in the room. "They use simple kinetic weapons," I continued. "Bullets and missiles, no energy shields, no plasma cannons. Their ships are made of basic metal and use chemical fuel. By our standards, they are hundreds of years behind us in technology." "Then how?" The voice was sharp with anger. "How does a primitive species defeat our fleets?" "Maybe they got lucky," suggested Speaker Prime. "One lucky battle against each fleet." "3 lucky battles," shook his head. "I have been a Corsair for 50 years. There is no such thing as that much luck." I closed the hologram and looked around the room. "There is something else. Before we lost contact with each fleet, we received strange messages. What kind of messages? Theta asked. The last transmission from commander of the fleet was unusual, played an audio recording. The voice was panicked and full of static. They will not surrender. We destroyed half their ships and they keep fighting. They ram our vessels with their dying ships. What kind of species does this? They fight like they want to die. How do you defeat an enemy that? The message cut off with the sound of explosions. The council chamber was silent. Finally spoke. Our soldiers are brave, but they know when to retreat and fight another day. These humans, they sound insane. The collective's last message was also strange, Speaker Prime said. Our warriors tried to connect with human minds, to add them to our shared thoughts, but something went wrong. The humans did not just resist. They heard our warriors through the mental connection. We have never seen this before. Nodded slowly. Our ships reported similar things. The humans tracked our invisible ships somehow. They set traps. They used tactics that made no sense until suddenly they worked perfectly. It was like fighting people who had nothing left to lose. Admiral looked at each representative. We have a choice. We can pretend this never happened and hope the humans stay in their corner of space, or we can find out what really happened to our fleets. And if we investigate and our ships disappear too? Asked. Then we will know we have a real problem, replied. The room buzzed with quiet conversations in different languages. Each species was talking among themselves, trying to decide what to do. I propose a joint investigation, announced. A small team with representatives from different species, not a military fleet, just researchers and diplomats. If these humans are as dangerous as our missing fleets suggest, we need to know why. And if they are not dangerous, Theta asked, if our fleets simply had accidents or met other threats, then we will have wasted some time and resources, said. But if they are dangerous and we do nothing, we might face a threat that could spread beyond their system. The vote was close, but the proposal passed. A joint investigation would be organized. Ships and crew would be gathered from volunteer species. They would travel to human space and learn the truth about what happened to the missing fleets. As the council meeting ended and representatives left for their ships, Admiral stayed by the viewing window. He watched the stars and wondered what secrets they held. Somewhere out there, a species called human had done something that no one in the galaxy thought possible. They had made 3 powerful fleets simply disappear. Soon he would know how. But deep in his heart, feared that learning the truth might be worse than living with the mystery. Investigator and studied the debris field through the ship's scanner. Pieces of warships floated in the darkness of space like metal snow. The twisted hull of what had once been the Star Crusher drifted past their investigation vessel. Its golden armor was melted and torn. This should not be possible, whispered Doctor from behind him. The small green scientist operated the ship's sensors with her 4 delicate hands. The Star Crusher was built to destroy planets. What could do this to it? And which made him good at solving mysteries. His people could see details that others missed. His silver skin could change color to show his emotions, and right now it was dark blue with worry. Run a full scan of all debris, he ordered. I want to know what weapons caused this damage. The investigation team had been traveling for 2 weeks. They visited the 3 sites where the fleets had disappeared. Each site told a different story, but all the stories were disturbing. Sir, called Engineer Knox from the control station. The large rocky being's voice rumbled like distant thunder. The damage patterns do not match any known weapon types. Show me. The main screen displayed a piece of hull. The metal had been cut in strange ways. Some cuts were clean, like from energy beams. Others were ragged, like from explosions. But there were also burn marks that looked like nothing in their databases. These marks here, Doctor pointed with one of her hands. They look like the metal was heated very quickly, but not by plasma weapons, something else. Kinetic weapons, and asked. Some of them, yes, but modified somehow. The humans took simple bullet weapons and changed them into something more powerful. Lieutenant, their military expert, floated over to look at the screen. The jellyfish-like ethereal moved through the air instead of walking. Her transparent body pulsed with different colors as she thought. "Look at this battle pattern," she said, making the screen show a map of the debris field. The ships were in perfect formation when they arrived. Standard attack pattern. But see how the human ships moved. The screen showed the paths of the battle. The human ships had moved in ways that seemed random at first. They split up, regrouped, attacked from unexpected angles. They sacrificed smaller ships to get close to larger ones, continued. Here, 3 human ships rammed themselves into the Star Crusher's engines. They destroyed themselves to cripple the enemy flagship. "Suicide attacks?" Doctor asked with horror. "Not suicide," and corrected, his skin turning yellow with understanding. "Sacrifice. They gave their lives so that other ships could win the battle." The team worked in silence for a while. Each piece of evidence made the mystery deeper. The humans had been outnumbered but they had won. "Sir," Engineer Knox rumbled, "I found something, a piece of recording equipment. It might still work." They brought the damaged recorder aboard their ship. It took hours to repair it enough to play its contents. When they finally heard the recording, the team gathered around in shocked silence. The voice was Commander, leader of the fleet, but it did not sound like the confident commander they had known. It sounded scared and confused. Day 3 of the human engagement. We offered them the standard choice: surrender and join the Empire or face destruction. They did not respond to our communications. They just attacked. Their weapons are primitive but effective. They seem to learn from each battle. In the first fight, our shields stopped their bullets easily. In the second fight, they used different bullets that could pierce our shields. By the third fight, they had weapons we had never seen before. But that is not the strangest part. The strangest part is how they fight. They do not retreat when they should. They do not surrender when they are beaten. Yesterday, we disabled one of their ships completely. No power, no weapons, no way to escape. The crew used their emergency rockets to ram us. They turned their dead ship into a missile. I have fought many species across the galaxy. Most fight for territory or resources or honor. These humans fight like their entire species will die if they lose this one battle. Every ship, every soldier, acts like the fate of their whole race depends on them personally. We have superior numbers and technology. We should have won by now. But every time we think we have beaten them, more human ships appear. Where do they come from? How many ships do they have? Wait, something is happening. Multiple human ships approaching from. That is impossible. They are coming from inside our formation. How did they get there? Our sensors should have. The recording dissolved into static and explosions. The investigation team sat quietly after the recording ended, finally, and spoke. Play the Crystalline Collective's last transmission. This recording was different. Instead of one voice, it was many voices speaking as one, the way the collective's hive mind always worked. But something was wrong with the harmony. The voices did not quite match. We attempt to contact the human minds, to bring them into the collective, to share our thoughts with them. This is how we grow stronger. This is how we bring peace. But the human minds, they resist, not just resist, they fight back. Through the mental connection, they send pain into our warriors. They send fear and anger and something else, something we do not understand. The humans think of pictures while we try to connect with them. Pictures of their young, pictures of their homes, pictures of their families. They fight not for themselves but for others, for beings who are not even in the battle. We have connected with thousands of species. All minds want peace when they join the collective, but human minds, they do not want peace. They want victory. They want their enemies to suffer for threatening their loved ones. Some of our warriors are damaged by the connection. The human emotions are too strong, too angry. We try to disconnect, but the humans hold on to the mental link. They use it to hurt us more. We do not understand this species. They use their love for others as a weapon. How do we fight people who become more dangerous when they think of their children? Break the connection, break it now. The humans are static. The team looked at each other with growing fear. Doctor's green skin had turned pale. They weaponized their emotions. More than that, Lieutenant pulsed orange with confusion. They used their love as a source of strength. Most species become weak when they think of losing their families. Humans become stronger. What about the Corsairs? Engineer Knox asked. They are the best raiders in the galaxy. What happened to them? And activated the final recording. Ghost Captain's voice was filled with disbelief and anger. Impossible, our ships are invisible. Our stealth technology has never failed. How are the humans tracking us? They do not use sensors like we expected. They watch for other things. Gravity waves, heat signatures. Even the way space dust moves around our ships. They track us like hunters tracking prey. But that is not the worst part. The worst part is how they fight when they find us. We are raiders. We attack quickly and leave before the enemy can respond. Hit and run. It has always worked. The humans do not let us run. When we attack their colonies, they follow us. They chase us across star systems. They never give up. They hunt us like we hunted them. And they learn. Each time we raid them, they are better prepared. They set traps. They use our own tactics against us. It is like fighting an enemy who knows what we will do before we do it. We took some of their people as slaves. This was a mistake. The captive humans did not break like other species. They organized. They planned. They turned our own ship against us. Slaves do not do this. Slaves accept their fate. But humans do not accept anything. They fight until they die or until they win. There is no middle ground with them. I am ordering a retreat. We will find easier targets. These humans are not worth the... The recording ended with the sound of human weapons firing. Investigator and skin had turned deep purple, the color of fear. Around him, his team looked shaken by what they had learned. 3 different fleets, he said slowly. 3 different approaches. Military conquest, forced assimilation, and raiding. All failed for the same reason. Which is? Doctor asked. The humans do not fight like other species. They do not fight for conquest or resources or even survival. They fight for each other, for their families, for their future. And that makes them... He paused, searching for the right words. Dangerous, Lieutenant finished. It makes them very dangerous. The investigation ship turned toward the next site, where the Wraith Corsair fleet had met its end. But an already knew what they would find there. More debris, more evidence of impossible human victories. And more proof that the galaxy had underestimated this new species in the worst possible way. Captain Sarah stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the strange ships approach Earth's outer defense line. The alien vessels were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Golden hulls caught the light of distant stars, and their weapons glowed with energy that human science barely understood. "Ma'am," called Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. "They're broadcasting something. It's being translated now." Sarah nodded. 3 months ago, humanity had made first contact with aliens. Not the peaceful meeting that scientists had hoped for, but something much worse. The first aliens had arrived at the colony world of New Texas, demanding immediate surrender. The colonists had tried to talk. The aliens had started shooting. "Translation complete," Torres announced. "They say we have 2 choices. Join their empire as a servant species or be destroyed. They're giving us 1 hour to decide." Sarah looked at the tactical display. 48 alien warships against Earth's 12 defense platforms and 37 patrol ships. The humans were outnumbered, and by enemies who could cross space faster than thought and destroy planets with single weapons. "Open a channel to all human ships," Sarah ordered. "This is Captain of the UES Defiance. You all know what happened at New Texas, New Beijing, and Station. These aliens did not come here to talk. They came here to make us slaves or kill us all." She paused, thinking of her daughter Emma, who was in school on the planet below. Thinking of her husband Mark, who worked in the orbital shipyards. Thinking of 8 billion human beings who had never asked to be part of a galactic war. "We are not going to surrender," she continued. "We are not going to run away. We are going to show these aliens what happens when you threaten human families. All ships prepare for battle, for Earth, for humanity, for our children." The alien fleet moved closer, their weapons charging with deadly energy. But Sarah was not afraid. She was angry. Angry at beings who thought they could take human freedom just because they had better technology. "Ma'am," called engineer from the engine room through the intercom. "The weapons modifications are ready." Sarah smiled grimly. The aliens thought humans were primitive because they used simple kinetic weapons, bullets and missiles instead of energy beams and plasma cannons. What the aliens did not understand was that humans had been making weapons for thousands of years. They knew how to make things that killed other things very, very well. "Fire all weapons," Sarah ordered. The first battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, 12 human ships were destroyed or crippled. But 15 alien ships were gone completely, and their flagship was burning. The aliens sent a second demand for surrender. Sarah's answer was to launch every fighter and bomber Earth could spare. The second battle lasted 2 days. The aliens learned that human fighters could not be stopped by point defense weapons because human pilots would ram their ships into enemy vessels rather than retreat. They learned that human bombers carried nuclear weapons, the most primitive and brutal explosives in the galaxy. They also learned that humans could think of new tactics faster than any species they had ever fought. "Status report," Sarah called during a brief pause in the fighting. "We're down to 19 ships," reported Commander from the UES Liberty. "But we've taken out 31 alien vessels. They're pulling back to regroup." "Any word from the colonies?" New Geneva and Titan Station report similar attacks. Different alien fleets, but they're all demanding surrender or threatening destruction. The colonists are fighting back. Sarah felt pride swell in her chest. Across human space, ordinary people were refusing to bow down to alien threats. Farmers and miners and teachers were picking up weapons and fighting back against star-spanning empires. "Ma'am," Torres called out, "we're getting a transmission from one of the alien ships, audio only." "Let me hear it." The alien voice was translated by their computers, but she could hear the confusion and fear in the original speech. "Human vessels, this is Commander of the Empire. You cannot win this fight. Our technology is superior. Our experience in war spans. Why do you continue to resist when surrender would spare your lives?" Sarah took the microphone. "This is Captain of Earth Defense Command. You came to our system and threatened to destroy our world. You attacked our colonies. You tried to make slaves of our children. Did you really think we would just give up? Your resistance is pointless. We offer you a place in the Empire. You will be treated well if you surrender now." "Commander," Sarah said calmly, "let me explain something about humans. We spent 10,000 years fighting each other for food, water, land, resources, and ideas. We learned how to make war in deserts, jungles, mountains, oceans, and frozen wastelands. We learned how to fight when we were outnumbered and surrounded. Do you know what we learned from all that fighting?" "What?" "We learned that there are things worth dying for. Our families, our freedom, our right to exist. You offered to let us live as your servants. We choose to fight as free humans even if that means we die." The transmission was silent for a long moment. Then Commander spoke again, and this time his voice was different, worried. You will sacrifice your entire species rather than accept our rule." "If that's what it takes," Sarah replied. "But Commander, you're making a mistake. You think we're sacrificing ourselves. We're not. We're fighting to win, and we will win because we have something you don't." "What is that?" "We have everything to lose. You're fighting for conquest. We're fighting for survival. Guess which one makes people more dangerous?" The alien fleet attacked again the next day, but something had changed. The aliens fought more carefully. They seemed afraid to get too close to human ships. They had learned that damaged human vessels would try to ram them rather than surrender. The humans had learned things too. They had studied pieces of alien technology recovered from destroyed ships. Human engineers had figured out how to modify their simple weapons to pierce alien shields. Human tacticians had developed new strategies based on alien weaknesses they had observed. Most importantly, humans had learned that aliens were not gods. They could be hurt, they could be confused, they could be beaten. The fourth battle was different from the first three. The aliens expected desperate human attacks and wild tactics. Instead, they found careful strategy and coordinated strikes. Human ships worked in teams, covering each other and striking at weak points in alien formations. When the alien flagship finally exploded, the remaining ships retreated. They jumped away from Earth's system and never came back. But the war was not over. Reports came in from across human space of new alien attacks, different species with different technologies, but all making the same demands: surrender or die. Captain Sarah looked at the tactical reports from around human space. The crystalline collective was trying to force their way into human minds, to make humans part of their hive mind. The Wraith Corsairs were raiding human colonies for slaves. Other alien groups were testing human defenses, probably deciding whether humans were worth conquering. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Torres called, "priority message from Earth Command." Sarah read the message and felt her blood turn cold. Long-range sensors had detected a massive alien fleet gathering at the edge of human space. Thousands of ships from dozens of species. They were coming to finish what the smaller fleets had started. "All ships," Sarah broadcast. "This is Captain. We've won the first battles, but the war is just beginning. The aliens are gathering a force that could destroy every human world. We have maybe 2 months before they arrive." She looked at the faces of her crew. Young and old, from a dozen different countries on Earth, united by the knowledge that they were fighting for the survival of their species. "We're not going to wait for them to attack," Sarah continued. "We're going to prepare. We're going to learn everything we can from the alien technology we've captured. We're going to turn every human world into a fortress. And when they come for us, we're going to show them something they've never seen before." "What's that, Captain?" asked Torres. Sarah smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had been backed into a corner and was ready to fight back. "We're going to show them what 8 billion angry humans can do when someone threatens their children." Across human space, the word went out. The aliens were coming with everything they had. Humanity's response was simple: let them come. Humans had been preparing for war since they first picked up rocks and sticks to defend their caves. Now they had spaceships and nuclear weapons, and the determination to use whatever it took to protect their families. The aliens thought they were coming to conquer a primitive species. What they would find was 8 billion humans who refused to kneel. The real war was about to begin. War Marshal stood in the command center of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest, watching the greatest military fleet in galactic history assemble around him. 10,000 ships filled the space between dead stars, their hulls gleaming with weapons that could crack planets and boil oceans. The massive alien was built for war. His thick gray skin could stop bullets. His 6 arms could each hold different weapons. His red eyes had seen 100 conquered worlds. In 3 centuries of military service, he had never lost a campaign. but as he watched the final ships arrive, felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. "Status report," he commanded. His voice boomed across the bridge. "All fleets are in position," replied his aide, Commander A. The spider-like alien moved quickly between control stations on her 8 legs. Empire battle groups, crystalline collective hive ships, Wraith Corsair raiders, and 57 other species. We have planet killers, reality weapons, and enough firepower to sterilize 100 star systems. Nodded. The Galactic Council had decided that the human problem required a final solution. No more small expeditions that might disappear mysteriously. No more half measures. They would enter human space with overwhelming force and end this threat once and for all. "Any word from our advanced scouts?" "That is, concerning War Marshal." A's voice was troubled. "The last 3 scout teams we sent into human space have not reported back. Before that, our long-range sensors showed normal human activity. Ships moving between planets, energy signatures from their cities, standard communications traffic. And now we detect nothing. No ships, no energy readings, no communications. It is as if the entire human species simply vanished 3 weeks ago." His red eyes narrowed. "Elaborate." The main screen showed a map of human space. 43 colonized worlds spread across 37 star systems. Each world had supported millions of humans just a month ago. Now the sensors showed nothing. "We believe they evacuated," I explained. "Loaded their entire population onto ships and fled to unknown space. It is the only logical explanation." 8 billion humans, asked. "Evacuated to where? Our long-range sensors cover every system within 1,000 light-years. Where could they hide so many people?" "Perhaps they scattered into small groups, nomad fleets hiding in deep space." Was not convinced. He had studied the reports from the missing expeditions. Humans did not run from fights. They seemed incapable of retreat when their families were threatened. Why would they abandon there now? "War Marshal," called intelligence officer from her station. The floating jellyfish being's transparent body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns as she spoke. "I have analyzed all available data on human psychology and behavior patterns. Mass evacuation does not fit their profiles." "Explain." "Humans are territorial creatures. They form emotional attachments to specific places. Their Earth holds special significance in their culture. Previous alien attacks made them more defensive, not less. Running away from their most important planet contradicts everything we know about them." Commander A skittered over to look at the intelligence reports. "Then what do you think happened to them?" "I believe they are still there," replied. "Hiding, waiting." "Waiting for what?" "For us." The bridge fell silent. The idea that humans might be setting a trap had occurred to some officers, but speaking it aloud made it seem more real, more frightening. "Impossible," declared Admiral of the Empire. The blue-skinned alien had joined the command meeting via hologram. "Humans lack the technology to hide entire planets from our sensors. They are a primitive species with simple weapons." "Simple weapons that destroyed your Star Crusher," reminded him. His face darkened, but he did not argue. The loss of the Empire's most powerful warship was a source of great shame. "If they are hiding and waiting," I asked, "what do they hope to accomplish? Our fleet could destroy their entire species even if they had twice as many ships as we estimate." War Marshal had been thinking about the same question. Humans were not stupid. They must know they could not win a direct battle against 10,000 alien warships. So what were they planning? "Begin the advance," he ordered. "All ships will jump to the outer edge of human space. We will proceed carefully and scan every system thoroughly. If the humans are hiding, we will find them." The massive fleet moved like a living thing. Ships that had been scattered across light years came together in perfect formation. The jump to human space took only minutes with their advanced technology. When they arrived at the first human colony system, station, they found exactly what the scouts had reported. Nothing. The space station that had housed 50,000 humans was empty. Its lights were off. Its reactors were cold. Debris floated around it like it had been abandoned for years, not weeks. "Send boarding teams," commanded. The teams found empty corridors and vacant quarters, personal belongings left behind, food still in storage areas, but no people, no bodies, no signs of struggle or violence. "It is like they just walked away," reported the boarding team leader. "Everything is intact, but everyone is gone." The fleet moved deeper into human space, checking system after system. New Beijing showed the same empty colonies. New Texas was a ghost world with silent cities. Titan Station around Saturn was powered down and deserted. But as they approached the heart of human space, toward Earth itself, something began to feel wrong. "War Marshal," called out, "I am detecting gravitational anomalies." "What kind of anomalies?" "Mass shadows that do not correspond to any visible objects, as if there are large objects in space that our sensors cannot detect." "Stealth technology?" "Unknown, but the gravitational effects suggest objects the size of small asteroids or large ships." Studied the sensor readings. If humans had somehow developed advanced stealth technology, they could be hiding anywhere. The empty space around them might be full of invisible threats. "All ships to full alert. Activate all defensive systems. Begin deep spectrum scanning of all space around the fleet." The results were immediate and disturbing. The deep scans revealed hundreds of objects that normal sensors had missed. Some were as small as fighters, others were as large as battleships. All were hidden throughout the space around the alien fleet. "How long have they been there?" demanded. "Unknown," A replied. "They could have been following us since we entered human space, or they could have been waiting here for us to arrive." "Are they armed?" "The scans are incomplete, but preliminary readings suggest they are heavily armed, very heavily armed." Felt his first real fear in centuries of warfare. His massive fleet was surrounded by an unknown number of hidden human ships, ships that should not exist, ships using technology that humans should not have. "How is this possible?" Admiral demanded over the communication link. 3 months ago, humans were using kinetic weapons and chemical rockets. Now they have stealth technology that can hide entire fleets. "They learned," intelligence officer said quietly. "Humans adapt quickly to new threats. They studied the technology from ships destroyed in previous battles. They reverse-engineered our stealth systems and improved them." "Improved them how?" "Made them better than ours." The alien fleet continued toward Earth, but now every officer was nervous. They had come expecting to fight a primitive species with inferior technology. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by invisible enemies using their own weapons against them. "War Marshal," the communications officer called out. "We are receiving a transmission from the human." "Audio only." "No, sir, full visual. They want us to see who is talking." The main screen flickered and showed a human face. It was a woman with dark skin and graying hair. She wore a simple military uniform with no decorations or rank insignia. Her eyes were calm but hard. "I am Admiral Sarah of Earth Defense Command," the human said. "You are trespassing in human space with obvious hostile intent. You have one chance to withdraw peacefully." Stepped forward so the human could see him clearly. "I am War Marshal of the Galactic Hegemony. You are surrounded by the largest military force ever assembled. Surrender now and your species will be granted mercy." Admiral smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "War Marshal, let me ask you something. Do you know the difference between an ambush and a trap?" "Explain." "An ambush is when you hide and attack your enemy by surprise. A trap is when you let your enemy walk exactly where you want them to go and then spring the attack." Paused. Guess which one you just walked into. Around the alien fleet, space itself seemed to come alive. Stars that had been distant points of light revealed themselves to be human ships with their engines dark. Asteroids opened up to show hidden missile platforms. Empty space flickered as thousands of cloaked vessels dropped their stealth fields. The alien fleet found itself in the center of a sphere of human warships. Ships that gleamed with armor made from alien alloys. Ships that bristled with weapons reverse-engineered from captured alien technology. Ships crewed by 8 billion humans who had spent months preparing for this moment. "Impossible," whispered. "You keep using that word," Admiral said. "I do not think it means what you think it means." The human ships began to move, closing the trap that had taken months to prepare. And War Marshal realized that he had made the same mistake as every alien commander who had faced humans before him. He had underestimated what humans could do when they were fighting for their children's future. The battle began not with the roar of engines or the flash of energy weapons, but with silence. For a moment that seemed to last forever, 10,000 alien ships stared at 20,000 human vessels that had appeared from nowhere. War Marshal looked at the tactical display and felt something he had never experienced in 3 centuries of warfare, the certainty that he was about to lose. "How?" he whispered. "How do they have so many ships?" Intelligence officers' bioluminescent patterns flickered frantically as she processed the sensor data. "War Marshal, these are not all military vessels. I am detecting converted cargo ships, mining vessels, passenger transports, even civilian pleasure craft. They have armed everything that can fly." "Everything?" Commandera asked. "Everything, including ships that should not be able to mount weapons. Somehow they have turned their entire civilian fleet into warships." Admiral's face remained on the main screen, watching the alien fleet with calm determination. "War Marshal, I am going to give you the same choice you gave us. Surrender now or face destruction." His red eyes blazed with anger. "You cannot be serious. We still outnumber your military vessels. Your converted civilian ships cannot stand against our warships." "You're right," agreed. "In a fair fight you would probably win, but War Marshal, who said anything about fighting fair?" The human admiral raised her hand, and space erupted into chaos. The attack did not come from the human ships, it came from everywhere else. Hidden weapon platforms that had been disguised as asteroids opened fire with missiles that moved faster than alien point defense could track. Space mines that had been invisible to alien sensors detonated throughout the enemy formation. Even the planets themselves joined the battle, as surface installations launched waves of nuclear-tipped rockets. But the most shocking surprise was what happened to the alien ships themselves. "War Marshal," screamed. "Our ships are reporting system failures, weapons offline, engines malfunctioning." "How is that possible?" "Unknown. It is as if our ships are being attacked from inside." The truth was worse than system failures. During the months when human space had seemed empty, human infiltration teams had been busy. Every piece of alien technology that humans had captured, they had studied. Every alien ship design they had encountered, they had analyzed. They had learned how to hack alien computer systems. While the alien fleet had been advancing through human space, human cyber warfare specialists had been quietly installing viruses in their target systems. Simple radio signals from the human fleet activated the hidden programs all at once. Suddenly, half the alien fleet found their weapons turning toward their own ships. Navigation systems sent ships crashing into each other. Life support systems shut down without warning. "It's a computer virus," reported. "They've infected our entire fleet." Through the chaos, Admiral's voice remained calm. "You wanted to see human ingenuity, War Marshal. We spent 3 months turning your own technology against you. Every ship you brought here is now a potential weapon in our hands." The human ships began their attack run. But these were not the same primitive vessels that aliens had faced before. 3 months of studying captured alien technology had transformed the human fleet. Ships that had once relied on simple kinetic weapons now fired energy beams that could cut through alien armor. Fighters that had once used chemical rockets now moved with gravitational drives that let them change direction instantly. Even the converted civilian ships carried weapons that would have been impossible for humans to build 6 months ago. "They're using our own weapons against us," Admiral shouted over the communication link. His hologram flickered as his flagship shook under human fire. How did they learn to build plasma cannons so quickly? "They didn't build them," realized with growing horror. "They took them from our destroyed ships and installed them on theirs. They've been scavenging our technology and making it better." A converted human cargo ship flew past the main screen, its hull bristling with alien weapon systems. But the weapons had been modified, enhanced, made more deadly than their original designers had intended. "Impossible," said for the third time that day. "War Marshal," a called out. "We are receiving communications from ships throughout the fleet. They are requesting permission to retreat." Retreat? Could not believe what he was hearing. "We are the largest military force ever assembled. How can they be requesting retreat?" The answer came as a human battleship rammed itself into the side of a crystalline collective hive ship. The human ship exploded, taking the alien vessel with it. But more human ships immediately moved to fill the gap in their formation. "They are willing to die," War Marshal observed. "Every human ship that is destroyed takes at least one of ours with it, but we cannot replace our losses. They seem to have an unlimited number of ships." It was true. For every human vessel destroyed, 2 more appeared to take its place. The human fleet was not just large, it was deep. They had layers of reserves that kept joining the battle. "Where are they all coming from?" demanded. "Long-range sensors detect ships arriving from every human colony," a reported. "Not just military vessels, merchant ships, research vessels, private yachts. Every human who can fly a ship is coming to join this battle." Admiral's voice cut through the noise of battle. "You made a mistake, War Marshal. You thought this was a military conflict between fleets. This is not a battle between armies. This is a species war." "What does that mean?" "It means every human in the galaxy is involved. Our children are on those ships, our parents, our brothers and sisters and husbands and wives. You did not come here to fight our military. You came here to fight our entire civilization." A new wave of human ships jumped into the battle. These were not warships or converted civilian vessels. They were evacuation ships. The missing human population had not fled to unknown space. They had been hiding in deep space, waiting for this moment. But they were not passengers anymore. They were crew members. Every transport ship had been turned into a missile. Every evacuation vessel carried weapons and warriors ready to die for their species' freedom. 8 billion humans, Admiral continued. All of them angry, all of them determined to protect their families, all of them willing to sacrifice everything to make sure their children grow up free. The alien fleet began to break apart. Ships that had fought together for centuries suddenly found themselves isolated and outnumbered. The perfect military formation dissolved into chaos as human ships attacked from every direction at once. "War Marshal," Commander said quietly, "we have lost 40% of our fleet. The humans have lost maybe 10% of theirs, at this rate. At this rate, we will all die here," finished. The massive alien looked at the tactical display and saw the truth he had been avoiding. They could not win this battle. They had brought the largest fleet in galactic history, and it was not enough. "But how?" he asked. "How did a primitive species do this to us?" Admiral seemed to hear his question. "You want to know our secret, War Marshal? It's not our technology, it's not our numbers, it's not even our tactics." "Then what?" "It's why we fight. You came here for conquest, for resources, for glory. We're fighting for the right to exist. You're fighting because your leaders told you to. We're fighting because our children's lives depend on it. Paused as another alien ship exploded in the background. Guess which motivation makes people more dangerous? His flagship shuddered as human weapons found their mark. Around him, his bridge crew worked frantically to keep their ship functional, but he could see the fear in their eyes. They had never faced an enemy like this before. War Marshal, the communications officer called out. The human admiral is requesting to speak with you privately. A moment later, Admiral's face appeared on a smaller screen visible only to. Her expression was serious but not cruel. War Marshal, you seem like a reasonable being. I'm going to offer you something your species has never offered mine. What? A chance to surrender and live. Order your fleet to withdraw from human space. Take your survivors and go home. Tell the galaxy what you learned here today. And if I refuse, then you will die here with the rest of your fleet, and we will hunt down every ship that tries to escape, and then we will start visiting the of every species that participated in this attack. His voice was calm but could hear the steel underneath. We have learned how to build ships, War Marshal. We have learned how to fight in space. Now we will learn how to take war to our enemies' homes. Looked at the battle raging around his flagship. Human ships moved like a pack of predators, coordinating attacks with precision that spoke of months of planning. They fought with a unity of purpose that he had never seen before. You would attack our. Only if you force us to. We do not want conquest, War Marshal. We want to be left alone to raise our children in peace. But if the galaxy will not give us peace, then we will make sure the galaxy never threatens us again. The choice was simple. Could continue fighting and watch his entire fleet die in human space, or he could retreat and face the shame of defeat. All ships, he broadcast on the fleet command frequency. Immediate retreat, jump to rally point 7, abandon engagement. The surviving alien ships began to disengage and flee. Human ships followed them to the edge of the system but did not pursue further. They had made their point. As his damaged flagship limped away from Earth, War Marshal looked back at the human one last time. It looked small and blue and peaceful from a distance. It was hard to believe that such a quiet planet could produce such fierce defenders. War Marshal, Commander asked, what do we tell the Galactic Council? Thought about the question for a long time. How do you explain that the largest military fleet in galactic history had been defeated by a species that had been spacefaring for less than a century? We tell them the truth, he said finally. We tell them that humans are not conquerors or raiders or empire builders. They are defenders, and they are the most dangerous defensive species in the galaxy. Because of their technology. No, because of their motivation. Every other species fights for gain. Humans fight for survival. Every other species has limits on what they will sacrifice for victory. Humans have no limits when their families are threatened. The alien fleet jumped away from human space, carrying with them a lesson that would spread across the galaxy. There are species you can negotiate with. There are species you can conquer. There are species you can trade with or ally with or ignore. And then there are humans, a species that should never, ever be threatened with extinction, because humans do not just fight back when cornered. They fight as if the universe itself depends on their victory. The galaxy would remember this lesson for a very long time.